Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and federal litigator Vic Bajaj, along with Fox News political analyst Gianno Caldwell. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on. You kind of heard Kash Patel there, right? He's talking about a couple of things. The confidential sources, there were 26. 3 of them were, approved by the FBI. And then he says this about whether or not the pipe bomb on January 6th was an inside job. Listen to this.
Does the FBI know who it is?
The FBI, under me and Dan Bongino's leadership, has reestablished that investigations of great public importance that almost blew up the DNC and RNC in Washington, D.C., an area in which then Vice President Harris was in the vicinity of, is something that needs to be answered.
He used the words surprised and shocked when people find out exactly what happened. Will they be surprised and shocked that maybe some indictments might come down, Vic? What do you think?
I would say so. When I listen to Kash Patel's comments there, it reminds me of when I call a United States prosecutor and say, hey, is my client Joe Schmo in any trouble? And they give me an answer exactly like we just heard. This is an area of utmost importance. We're actively investigating. Let's not forget, this is not just a political issue. This is a criminal issue, which means in a federal grand jury, there's an aura of secrecy. So we would never hear that there are indictments coming down, but I would almost bet my bottom dollar that there are, at the very least, perjury by officials who lied before Congress and in other FBI reports and investigations. Absolutely. Yeah,
and Gianno Caldwell, to you, the political perspective on this, if there are indictments coming down, does this change the perspective? Does this change people's point of view when it comes to January 6th? What do you think about that, Gianno?
Well, I'm not sure. I believe if you're on one side or the other, you're probably still there. But I think there's a lot that has to be uncovered, whether it be about January 6th or about the FBI looking at parents who go to particular Catholic churches, whatever the issues may be. There needs to be an uncovering of it. Under the previous administration, it appeared that there was a lot of corruption going on, a lot of things that the government shouldn't have been involved in that they were involved in. And now with people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, I think there will be a seriousness to any investigation, and certainly with Pam Bondi, to your other guest's point, that would actually take legal action to ensure that these kind of things don't happen again, and we can increase the trust that government once had.
Yeah, and it really is all about transparency. They just want to lay this out there and let us kind of decide what's going on, which leads us to the House oversight investigation into the Biden cover-up. Here's what James Comer said today.
So there's plenty of evidence that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to make a lot of these decisions. We want to know who actually gave the authority to do these executive orders and these pardons, because, again, I think the American people have seen up close and personal, especially during that debate with Donald Trump, that Joe Biden wasn't at the top of his game.
And if somebody else was kind of pulling the levers back there, Vic, I mean, again, we talk about this, we could see indictments. We could see some legal action coming down the pike.
As well, we should. The chronology here is of the utmost importance, Trace. Let's not forget, we had a special counsel, and he did the investigation as to whether Joe Biden should be criminally prosecuted for mishandling classified information. And what was his conclusion at the end of 2023? Joe Biden's a well-meaning, sympathetic old man, and you know what? He cannot develop the criminal intent, the mental capacity to be prosecuted. Now, let's fast forward to the beginning of January 2024. Now, nothing happened to Joe Biden's mental acuity to be improving in that matter of 1 month or 2 months, and he signs a pardon for his own son.
Yep.
You know, Cicero would say, cui bono, who benefits here? Clearly, Hunter Biden benefits. Who authored that? We don't know, but all roads seem to lead to Joe Biden.
And Gianno, back to you now, because it's interesting where, if some of this stuff comes out, I mean, we had Caroline Sunshine saying, listen, it could be the biggest political scandal of our time, maybe of all time. What do you think?
I think that there's a real issue there, and there was a crisis in our country, and we didn't know who was leading the country. The president, obviously, former president, wasn't up for the job, and he was very derelict in his duties on multiple fronts, and there absolutely should be an investigation. I think for a lot of conservatives that are watching this, they hear oftentimes that there's going to be investigations either through the congressional body or somewhere else, but they never see actual action or people being held accountable. And I think those days have come to an end under the Trump administration.
It's a very good point, because we do hear a lot of, we're going to investigate, we're going to investigate. We don't see people walking away in handcuffs very often. Maybe that changes now. Gianno Caldwell, Vic Bajaj, thank you.
Unless
both.
they're Republicans, that is. Then you'll see them. They'll do that. They'll try to prosecute the Republicans for sure.
There come the handcuffs.
Democrats,
Gianno.
no, sir. Nothing to see here.
Thank you, Gianno.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.